and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have public comment. We have two. Is somebody here for VZ Park? Yes. Could you come right up here, give your name, your address, and,
Would you like me to sit?
sure,
Okay.
whatever you feel comfortable with.
Sounds good. My wife is also on Zoom,
Okay,
so she'll be representing as well.
all right.
So we've had a fairly consistent problem with noise from VZ for probably about a year or so. We live all the way across the lake from VZ, so a pretty good distance. And when they have events there, the noise is incredibly loud. I mean, it goes right into our living room. We're not people to complain at all. We're not looking for anything magic. We've tried to speak to Vanessa a few times, but we've seen no change. We think it's just a matter of re-aiming the speakers that are at VZ. But I mean, it is loud enough so that a couple of Sunday mornings ago, when they had an event, I had a backpack leaf blower with headphones. I could still hear the bass. And I can't see it affecting the immediate neighbors. I really do think it's...
Can you, excuse me, could you take the mask off so that we can
Yeah.
hear you a little better?
Yep. I really think it's the way the speakers are pointed. I don't think it's necessarily affecting the people immediately within the VZ Park. I think it's broadcast over to a few houses across the lake. The neighbors to the right of us, the Pappases, have noticed the concern. They said also to mention their name. All the way down to the end of Center Street, the Amadeos experienced the same problem with really, really loud noises from VZ. We've tried to call VZ a few times during the event. We can't reach anybody. This last Saturday night, we tried to reach, the voicemail didn't work. It referred out to Mr. Soper, so we left a voicemail on Mr. Soper's line, and he called us back Sunday morning. So there's no way to reach anybody at VZ to say, look at the way the speakers are pointed. Whatever way they're pointed now is the way that's really impacting us across the lake. So we're just looking to find a resolution to the noise, that's all. It's, you'd never think it would be that loud that far away, but it's crazy loud.
Who have you spoken with up there at VZ Park?
Vanessa
Okay.
and my wife had spoken to Mr. Soper on Sunday morning. Mr. Soper thought it was unreasonable. Jill, can the people on Zoom speak?
Sure.
Jill, can you hear me?
This is your wife on Jason, can you get her on?
Sorry to hold up for technical.
That's okay.
All right.
Takes a minute.
No worries. She spoke with Mr. Soper on Sunday morning, so I wanted this to be her words. What he said.
Yeah, is it okay? Is it okay for me to talk?
Sure. Go ahead. Let us know who you are and again, your address.
Thank you for letting me have this opportunity. And I couldn't hear everything that Scott said, so I'm sorry if I'm going to be a little redundant. But I did want to say that this isn't a first time knee-jerk reaction. We hear noise and we are reacting. It has actually occurred all summer long. And this past Saturday night, sitting in our living room, having quiet, peaceful enjoyment of our home, we couldn't. We had one window open, and the noise was just so incredibly loud. So at that point, like, we have got to do something, and we don't know what to do. Like, my husband has called Vanessa. I have left a voicemail. I still haven't heard back from her. John wasn't as helpful, even in a way where it was like a communication, able to have a discussion. I didn't get that response. We tried to call the police, and we understand that they're limited as well. So now we're coming to the Board of Selectmen, and we want to have an find a resolution that, that VZ can live with and that we can live with. And, you know, that is my intent and our goal here today is to at least have a discussion and start coming up with some resolutions.
Okay, how about if we get you in touch with Mike Dempsey? He's here, he can speak with your husband, you can meet with him, and he can put you in touch with the staff up there. See if
Yep.
in the next couple of weeks, something can be resolved. And
Okay.
if not to your satisfaction, we can put you on the agenda for, as an agenda item for the next meeting. But I think when you talk with Mike, he's gonna be able to straighten things out.
Okay, I like that as a first step. Scott, are you happy with that?
I am.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Mike, is that something you can take care of? Maybe you can set up a time and, all right, well, thank you. Hopefully, we can get it resolved.
I'm sure we can.
I'm sure we can.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Welcome.
Joe, you're next.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I'll make a brief comment, and thank you, the chair, for allowing me to speak. I also want to thank Selectman McDonald, who brought to my attention the issue that some folks are having regarding the bylaw that's on the website. This is the bylaw that pertains to the town administrator. This is the bylaw that we've been working on, we, meaning the Government Study Committee, been working on for about 18 months in response to the Board of Selectmen's request and vote to show you how we can control the position of town administrator. So back in March, there were two items that I mentioned at meetings that are embedded in the bylaw, which I'm going to clarify in a few minutes. But before we talk about those, I want everybody to understand, and again, I appreciate Dan bringing this to my attention, because not everybody understands this, and it's okay. I mean, this stuff is complicated, and not everybody follows all meetings and attends all meetings. So what happened with the bylaw is that was the path that we were looking at as a government study committee as to how we were going to implement the town administrator. And back in March, I was talking about that. There were something else that we needed to do. We also needed to do a special act that would terminate the finance director's position. So until almost the end of April, we had this vision that we were going to have one special act that would do two things. One of them would implement the town administrator, the other one would terminate the finance director. Lo and behold, somewhere around April, also we were helped by your former interim director, we were helped by town council, we were helped by some really good input from the public and some public officials. We discovered this marvelous state law called 4123A. And once we discovered that we can hire a town administrator under 4123A, do you know what we did with the bylaw? We dropped it. It's now sitting in a file at town council. It's not implemented. You didn't see me or anybody on my committee distributing copies at town meeting. It wasn't part of the discussion. We never presented it to you as a warrant article request. The two warrant article requests that were presented, the important ones was number 4, that was to implement the special act to terminate the terminate the finance director, and then hire a town administrator on the chapter 4123A. So 2 more things and I'll be done. The bylaw has 2 things that gives some folks some concern. And again, I appreciate Selectman McDonald bringing this to my attention. Number 1, it says in there that you need 4 votes out of a 5-member board to vote for a town administrator. Well, it does say that, but remember, it's in draft form. It doesn't exist. It exists, that language is in there, it's subject to change. Someday we're gonna work on it, bring it back out, take the dust off it and work on it and decide if that's the way we wanna go. In 4123A, you only need 3 out of 5 to vote for a town administrator, so I needed to clarify that. The second thing that was a concern had to do with hiring from within. Now, inside of our draft bylaw, we have some language in there, and it was kind of nondescript. We haven't even really had decided by April whether we're going to really leave that in there, whether we were only talking about elected officials, or we were talking about appointed officials. I don't want to diminish the importance of that language, because there are some cities and towns where that is important to them, but that's not anything applicable to us. It's not implemented, and so, for good reason, there's confusion, because now we're in the process. Now I'm on a second committee, the Town Administrator Search Committee, and we're helping you hopefully hire a town administrator soon, and people can get confused between the reality of 4123A, which is quite different from the reality of the bylaw, which really has not been implemented yet. Should we leave it on the website? That's a subject for discussion. I think it's a good idea, because look what happened. People are still looking at it, still commenting. But if this is something that you need further development, further discussion on, I invite you to put me on the agenda, and we can go a little bit deeper. But thank you again for the opportunity to make this comment and hopefully clear the air. And thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Joe, you're on the agenda for later on, Town Administrator Search Committee discussion update from Joe Demore, later on.
Oh, I am. I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're not prepared?
No, I'm always prepared. Let me call home. No problem.
She's not prepared.
You got to get permission.
All right, thank you. Jason, you want to handle the approval of the warrants?
Sure, I make a motion to approve payroll warrant 2215 in the amount of $170,469.62.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous.
I make a motion to approve bill warrant 2215 in the amount of $1,396,192.52, which breaks down to the town of $138,429.43, water and sewer $47,346.28, payroll withholding $47,557.93, light bills $73,146.46, grants and revolving $71,960.09, Pentucket assessment $1,017,752.33.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
On my sheet, I have Whittier Quarterly, not Pentucket Assessment. Is there,
Yeah, I read the warrants, and when I read the warrants, I realized it was Pentucket assessment.
I was just going to
I'm
say,
glad
it
you
looks
said
a
that,
little
because
high.
I don't remember the
Whittier
Whittier
getting
being
that
over
much?
$4 million, and I was like, what happened here?
Yes,
So that is Pentucket.
yes it
Okay.
is.
All right, thank you for clarifying that,
I
sir.
was wondering about that.
I almost fell over.
Any other discussion?
No.
None. All in favor? Unanimous. Next, approval of the minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting on September 13th, 2021.
Move to approve the minutes for Board Selectmen meeting from September 13th, 2021.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Approval of the minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting on September 21st, 2021.
Move to approve the minutes for the Board of Selectmen meeting September 21st, 2021.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Approval of the minutes from the Board of Selectmen meeting on September 27th, 2021.
Move to approve the minutes from September 27th, 2021.
Second.
Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Appointments. Appointment of Michelle Fagan of West Newbury to Town Treasurer, 30 hours a week at $70,000, effective $70,000, effective 10/7/21. We have some paperwork on that.
Yes, you do. You have the offer letter that I don't think Michelle has gotten a copy of yet. And
You
you
don't
have
think she's what?
I don't think she has received her copy of it at this point,
Oh.
not the one that you have in front of you, that original.
Michelle.
Does she have it?
You have that?
I printed off a copy of it, but it wasn't changed.
Okay, I think we've made some changes to it.
Want me to copy this one more?
Yeah, I think we need one.
You can see if they're the same, different.
While she takes a look at that, I just wanted to say, also included is a summary of the interview that Selectman McDonald and I conducted with Ms. Bagan, as well as her updated resume. It's double-sided.
So this is a position for 35 to 40 hours a week, at a salary rate of $70,000. Excuse me, all accrued vacation personal sick time will be carried into the new position. First 6 months of employment considered probationary. Michelle, do you have any comments? None.
I did want to offer into the discussion that during the course of Selectman McDonald and I searching for a treasurer, it was made clear to us from our contact at the Collins Center that the current salary offering for this type of position is low for the industry, and particularly low at this time in the competition for certified treasurers. So that it would be our recommendation as we move forward, assuming Michelle accepts and we appoint tonight, that come the annual town meeting for next year, that this year the town meeting appropriated $75,000. We would like to see that amount put back into the warrant because it's already built in, as well as any percent across the board raise that is offered to the non-union employees. That's what we discussed with Michelle. We cannot put that into an offer letter because we cannot guarantee a town meeting vote. But it is our intention, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Selectman McDonald, our intention is to try to bring the treasurer salary up to the industry standard, which is currently above $80,000 per year. And that we need to do that in steps, obviously, to fit it into our budget, but that we should try to be diligent and transparent about that and, go forward with that knowledge with us. Just wanted to be open with the whole board that this was a discussion that Dan and I have had on several occasions, and that we also had that discussion with Michelle during the interview process. Did you want to add anything?
Yes.
Oh, I should have taken off my mask.
Something?
Sorry, I forgot to take off my mask when I talk. How do you sound like muffled, right? Sorry. Go ahead, Dick.
Whereas we're limited in what we can, guarantee and not guarantee, and there may be future boards and certainly the voters. The expectations are bilateral. The expectation is that she would work towards certifications. I believe one is 4 to 5 years out and full certification in 6. So as long as there's progress towards that end goal, they bring it up as Kathy uses a, label industry standards, I say market value. In the course of our interview and process and negotiations, I was provided a spreadsheet on what the going rate is, and I looked at the annual budget of the municipality. Some are low, some are higher. Just to give a idea, close by, I think, was it West Newbury? Where are they at here? 79,344, and then there's an additional 1,200. I don't know what that is. So they're at 80-ish. Their annual budget, according to this, is only a 16 million, 8 only. Wenham's at $22 million budget, and that's a round number, so that tells me that's somewhat of an estimate, but 78,000. So again, it's a moving goalpost. As 5 years from now, who knows where inflation will be and everything else. But from my perspective, the essence of the meeting of the minds, if there is one, is to be at market value. And I don't know where that dot would land on a board 4 or 5 years from now, but it would be a future discussion of negotiation, subject to Board of Selectmen and appropriations at town meeting.
Oh, thank you. Anybody else?
If I could?
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair. So just to summarize a little, our interview with Michelle, she's currently performing the essential function of the treasurer as the assistant treasurer. She works without supervision the majority of the time. Our consultant treasurer, Sarah Hunter, is in 1 day per week. We would propose that during the transition period that we would have a separate line at the special town meeting added for the consultant treasurer to continue as the prior fiscal year has not yet been totally closed out, and let Michelle focus, hopefully going forward, on this fiscal year. And she's doing a very exceptional job with this, according to Sarah Hunter, who is an expert in this area. In addition to doing the regular treasure work, she's also participating in the bonding for the water and sewer department, so she's getting a very fast experience head-on as a treasurer in a very condensed period of time, and has put in an exceptional amount of hours and dedication to this job. And personally, I thank her very much for her diligence and her hard work, and I think she's more than earned this position.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we extend Ms. Beegan the offer as stated, contingent upon her acceptance of the offer.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You have to accept first.
She have to sign the, yeah. Let's make her sign while she's here, so she can't.
Well, that's what you were holding that up for. Now, moving on. Appointment of Eric Gorski to Reserve Officer for the Groveland Police Department effective October 19th, 2021.
Motion to appoint Officer Gorski as a reserve officer for the Groveland Police Department effective October 19th, 2021.
The motion, is there a second?
Second that.
And a second. Eric is going to be retiring. We have a letter later on in correspondence effective October 18th. Good luck to Eric on his retirement, and he's going to be working as a reserve officer. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Appointment of Zachary Brown of New Hampshire as a senior highway operator effective 10/25/21 for the rate of $26.
Motion to appoint Zachary Brown, senior highway operator, as stated.
I'll second that.
It looks like it might be $26.29 an hour for 40 hours a week.
Yeah, that was the letter.
All right, there was a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Recommended by the highway superintendent. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Congratulations, Zach. Appointment of DJ McNulty to associate member of the planning board effective 10/12/21.
Motion to appoint DJ McNulty as an associate member of the planning board effective October 12th, 2021.
There's a motion and a second. A second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor of DJ McNulty, associate member of the planning board? All in favor? Unanimous. Discussion and possible vote. Town Administrator Search Committee. Joe, you're up.
Great.
Update from Joe Demore and appointment of new committee members.
Thank you. And point of order, Joe Demore, 9 Cherry Tree Lane. I'm the chair of the Government Study Committee, which is still active, and the chair of the Town Administrator Search Committee. Thank you for the invitation. A little bit unexpected, but I can think on my feet. So anyways, let me give you a
Well,
little bit.
never a loss for words.
No, I know. We were going to have documented evidence. I could only, speak only 3 minutes tonight, but now we blew it because you invited me back, so I speak a lot. So anyways,
Well, we take away from the 3 minutes what you had before.
can you do commercials? Anyways, thanks again. I appreciate it. Let me give you a little bit of a background, and I'll take your questions as well. So the Town Administrator Search Committee, the membership was 9 people originally. Without going into details, 4 people have resigned. We're down to 5. We can operate with 5. We need a quorum of 5. So the problem is that people are busy, and we're having some difficulty getting a quorum of 5 for the balance of this month. So therefore, we're hopefully able to bring on one more member. I don't know if that was on the agenda tonight, but there was a public member that was interested, because we need 5 to operate. So if we do have 5 tomorrow night, we are going to meet for the first time in about a month, and it's going to be a Zoom call, and it's going to be an executive session. We are going to have Bernie Lynch available on the Zoom call, and we're sort of, what we're going to do is we're going to, and that happened because I've been in touch with Bernie. He had contacted me. And again, I'm assuming that that's still okay with the Board of Selectmen. You folks are the hiring authority for the consultant. The consultant, in my view, and I think that the committee will feel pretty much the same way, served us exceptionally well. Very professional, gave us good guidance, also removed some liabilities from us, making sure that we ask the right questions and not ask the wrong questions, and really, really provided us a very good glide path. So Bernie is going to work with us tomorrow. He's made a commitment. Again, a Zoom call tomorrow night, executive session, so it won't be aired. And what we hope to do is we hope to take a look at 3 new applicants, which speaks to hopefully what Selectman McDonald has always wished, that we can produce, 3, 4, or more applicants. And we have failed in doing that, not because of performance issues, only because it seems to be a difficult market, and then there's some unusual things that happen. So, for example, we had 19 candidates, 19. I wasn't prepared, so I didn't bring the file with me, but I think it's around 19. We really liked 6. We asked 6 to be interviewed. Before we interviewed anyone, 2 of them dropped out. We're down to 4. When we interviewed 4, 1 of them we could not advance. So we're down to 3. And so now, of the 3 that we interviewed that we liked, we sent you, through Bernie, what was a document called a transmittal document, which was just a big fancy email that says, here it is, the official graduates, if you will, from the town administrator. Out of the 19 candidates or so, we really like 3, and we're sending 3 your way. After that happened, about a week later, one of those candidates withdrew their application for personal reasons. And we liked all 3 of them. The good news is that the people that we presented to you, down to the 2 people that you interviewed, we really liked. They were top picks. The top 3, the top 2, you have them, or you had them. Now, I understand that one of those candidates has withdrawn, so actively, out of the original 6, there is 1 candidate that came before you. I forgot the date.
21st.
What's that?
The 21st of September?
21st of September. Both candidates came before you. And my understanding is that that 1 candidate that has not withdrawn is still an active participant, if you will, and should be, according to our committee, because of the work that we did, should continue to be considered as a highly qualified candidate that met the standards of our committee. Now, we do have 3 new candidates, so tomorrow, hopefully if we have quorum, hopefully we will advance 1 two or all three, and advance means advance them to us, and then hopefully by the first week of November, because I can't pull quorum for the next couple of weeks, hopefully by the first week of November, we will interview 1, 2, or 3 brand-new candidates, and then lo and behold, you will have 1, 2, 3, or possibly 4 candidates. The one that has already been before you, and potentially 3 more. It could be 2 more. I mean, we're going to use, we're going to screen them out for you. So that's a little bit of a snapshot. One of the issues that came up, a few issues came up I want to address that hopefully I can help you with on September 27 at your meeting, is this idea that the applications can continue to come in. Now, there is a little bit of a conflict, and I saw that back and forth between the consultant and you, the board. But I have to say, in respect to you, I do remember that the original charge you gave my committee was to keep the application flow open until filled. I do understand that. We also respect the consultant, and we found ourselves, a little bit of conflict until only very recently, where now there are candidates that have come through, and we feel like we have to reopen, if you will, because my understanding was that technically and possibly legally, when the consultant, with my consent and with the board's vote, meaning my committee's vote, sent you that transmittal notice, this is the official, these are the, the 2, 3 people that we want you to interview, we thought that sort of closed the door. But the door is not closed. My committee is committed to finding the very best candidate we could possibly find for you. We want to collapse the work for you. We want to do the necessary screening, I think, as we've done. I realize that this board has expressed some displeasure with our committee, but we're motivated, and we're really devoted, and we're under your charge. We work for you. So as long as things don't change, like you don't want us to work for you, or you don't want us to hire the consultant, or you don't want us to do this, or you want us to do, if you need to materially change the charge, you need to bring me in here and let me know that so I can communicate that to the board. So unless you communicate anything else, we're guns blazing. We're moving forward, and we want to deliver quality candidates. As of today, we still have only 3 more candidates that basically materialized in the last 3 weeks. We don't have any new resumes. One last thing, I don't have the key to the inbox that collects resumes. So who knows? There might be 15 resumes in there. I don't know. I doubt 15, but who knows? But someone needs to check that box to see if there's any additional resumes. So I'll take any questions or comments.
Anybody got questions for Joe?
No, I have a comment. I want to thank you and your board for the hard work that they've done and continue to do. And I look forward to hearing more about it in future meetings.
Right.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Because here on the agenda it says to appoint new committee members, but there's no names.
Well, did we have a name? Did we have a public member that,
I believe Mike Wood was looking to
was
get
it
on
Mike
the
Wood?
committee.
Yeah,
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
Because I was confused when I saw nothing here.
yeah. Well, I mean, I can verify that I had a private discussion with him last night. It was done through social media, and he expected to, be approved.
Oh, okay.
I think the only thing I saw on that was an email from you to us that he was interested.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, it's not on the agenda. I didn't expect that. Of course, I didn't know I was on the agenda,
We
but
can take
that's
that up
okay.
on appointment of new committee members.
Yeah. And I did speak to Mike. I said, if you get appointed, would you be able to get sworn in time for tomorrow night? Because it's that close for us. We have 6 members now, if we bring on Mike.
I-
But we have 1 member that can't make it anytime. We're like just at 5 if we bring a new one in. So,
I think that,
kind of a pain.
I think
but,
that might be a problem. Somewhere
Sure.
I had an email from the town clerk that the clerk's office will be closed tomorrow. She's at a conference.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we have quorum tomorrow. If not, we'll reset and we'll try to get it done as soon as possible. We, you know,
If I could.
we have the fire
clerk's
chief and
office
the
open tonight.
police chief that are on the committee, and they've got some significant things on their schedule that it's hard
Okay.
for me to coordinate with those. I'm
Well,
sorry,
any-
Kathy, what did you say?
Any other questions or comments to Joe?
I just had an overall comment. You know, hindsight 2020.
Yeah.
As you described the process, and I know we said, keep it rolling, and as soon as you get some good people, send it up to us. And you did exactly that. I mean, you did do that. You brought these people forward, and then there was a little glitch in the gears here when we reduced down to just one applicant, and we had other applicants in the box that hadn't been considered. So I really appreciate the flexibility of the committee and the commitment to this process. I know that, you know, all things considered, it would have been great if it would have been just a smooth run to the interviews we did and then get it done, but sometimes the road takes a twist. And I really appreciate the committee members hanging in there. I know you're taking time from your family, your friends, and usually the people on committees are some of the busiest people in town. So thank you to everybody, and including the members that stepped aside. I know that everybody gave a lot of time to this committee, and I truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'll share that with the committee, and we hear that. We hear that from this board, and we're very motivated to support you, so.
Any other comments, questions for Joe? Bill?
Yeah, quickly, again, after the meeting that your committee took a meeting ago, I want to thank the committee members that did decide to stick on. It shows some true intestinal fortitude to fight through that, and look forward to seeing your next set of applicants. I know that it was an easy thing to throw the net back in the water, but sometimes, you know, the first haul isn't quite what you want, and that's why there's a big ocean, and hopefully we get a bigger net.
Appreciate
The
that.
question is,
Yes.
is the town clerk office open tonight?
I don't
No.
know.
No?
No, I
think
spoke
so.
to Beth, she was leaving, and she wouldn't be around to collect the papers either.
It's a hiccup. We'll get over it. Tomorrow night, we're going to convene. If we don't have quorum, we'll get on the schedule as soon as possible and get things going. When is your next meeting?
2 weeks, October 25th.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, things are, even if we have quorum tomorrow night, we can't do anything until the first week of November anyways, just because we just can't get quorum.
Right.
You know, we had 9 members, we're down to 5. And that's we're right on the cusp. So if one of those don't make it, we're out of luck. So, but we'll get it done. We you know, I promise you, we're very committed, we're very motivated.
Now, Mr. Wood couldn't get sworn in by any other member of the town or another town, I don't imagine. Not like a justice of the peace.
No, he's already been married, he's happy, I think he's,
I don't
Once
know
is
if
enough.
another
That's
town
debatable.
can do it.
Well, you sure of that?
I'm not.
I'll check.
Another town might be able to do it. I don't know the
That's a good
rules.
idea.
A town clerk
never
in
thought
West
of that.
Newbury you could ask.
Well, I'm sure that...
If you appoint
I'm
them-
sure if you get in touch with the town clerk,
Yeah.
she will make some kind of accommodations at some point.
Okay.
Well,
That's fine.
Plus, it's more than a day. I just got a question, a comment for you.
Sure, please, yes,
So I watched your last meeting, what was it, 29th or 30th?
yeah,
And it, whatever, it was a Zoom meeting?
yes.
Well, watching that Zoom meeting, just so that you remember, Zoom meetings require roll call votes, and you took 2 votes. One was to convene, I think it was going to be on the 6th of October. That was a roll call vote. It was not a roll call vote, it was a call the ayes and nays, and the same thing with a motion to adjourn. Zoom meetings, as we know from here, from the Board of Selectmen, they require a roll call vote. So what you'll be doing a Zoom meeting this, probably tomorrow night. And don't forget that roll call.
I appreciate that, and we're going to do the interviews on Zoom also, when we get to the interviews, so we're not going to do them live, so, but thank you for that. I was off my game with parliamentary procedure.
Will those Zoom interviews be open to the public, or will it be under
No,
executive session?
no, they're going to be an executive session. The only interviews that are going to be public are going to be the ones that you conduct. We're going to do things, executive session. I mean, honestly, a candidate does have an option to request a public interview from us, but we're not going to offer that unless it's, if it's requested, we'll consider it, but we'll entertain it. But no, we're not requiring that, and we're not floating that idea.
Well, generally,
Yeah.
on interviews like that, these candidates have other jobs, and
Right.
and until they're finalized, the last 3 or 4, they don't want to alert their present employer that they've applied for another job. So that's standard procedure.
Yeah.
And some of them, as you know, you probably ran into that already, interview for the experience of it. They may not want that particular job, but they want the experience of the interview for the job that they really want.
Yeah. And another thing that came to mind, we talked about this, and we were thinking about what Selectman McDonald had said, hey, bring us 4, 5, or 6 if you can. We stuck to one discipline. When we rejected a candidate, we didn't even consider the possibility of reaching down into candidates that we felt were not worthy. So that's why we ended up getting stuck with not what we had hoped for. We had promised you 3, and we're struggling to bring you 3. So, but we're up to the task, and we'll get it done.
All right, thank you.
Promise you. All right. Thank
we
you.
have,
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, your 3 minutes are up. Appointment of new committee members. The only one we had notified was Mike Wood. We want to make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Mr. Michael Wood as a new committee member to the search committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor of Mike Wood to the Town Administrator Search Committee? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay. We have, next order of business, Department of Revenue opinion on use of stipends. I think we had a email on that. Kathy, I think that you had something on that.
Yes, I actually sent to you the question, how it went in, because it was in response to like a regular email from the Department of Revenue offering assistance to the municipalities, and I just clicked on the ask a question box in there, and then got back basically just a copy of section 108, which I guess anybody could have looked up. And it's not a surprise that it, basically says the same thing that we sort of understand, that the salary and compensation is set at town meeting. We know that. When I was reviewing tonight's meeting minutes, I noted that on several occasions, we've stated that, various members here have stated that once we hire the town administrator, the stipends will all stop. I guess my concern is that we keep pushing off the date, and the money that we have set aside to hire positions is getting reduced by the stipends. And I'm just concerned that if we don't decide to take some action in the future now or in the near future, that we are going to have difficulty offering competitive salaries to new employees. We now have a treasurer, and now we're going to have to hire an assistant treasurer, and we know that we're paying the consultant out of the treasurer line, and hopefully at town meeting in November, we'll be able to correct that and redirect that money. I don't know if we can go back and do it retroactively at all. I guess that's an accountant question. That would be helpful if we could do that, but I don't know that we can. And I don't know that there's very many available sources for any transfers within our budget this year. I think we all know it was pretty tight, right? So I guess I'm just kind of putting it out to my board members. We know that there's 4 stipends still being paid, and I'm not really sure in the Council on Aging. Maybe Jason can speak to it, because I thought that ended when we hired the director, but then something else happened.
Yes, for the Council of Aging, which I believe they have their own budget and their elected boards. I'm not sure that we have a whole lot of say directly.
Town meeting sets their budgets, though.
Yes, but as
Yeah.
long as they're within budget. And that stipend that they're given currently is coming out of the Maria's budget, which is, she's part-time and she's on maternity leave. So she's currently not getting paid, but the job still has to get done, and Nisha is doing the job. And so when
Could we
Maria comes
just build
back-
it into the salary at the special town meeting? Because that would be having a town meeting vote it.
I don't know if
be
you want to
good.
do that, because you build something into a salary, it doesn't stop. It becomes permanent. Because it's salary, it's voted, it's there.
Well, could you charge hours instead of a flat rate, charge hours to the other salary? That would at least be in keeping with town meeting vote, you know? I'm just trying to keep with the town meeting votes.
Right.
So
Well,
that-
as far as I know, it is, because it's still being paid out of the other line from Maria.
So could it be an hourly charge so that at least keeps in line with,
We could talk to Denise and have her run it up to their board and see.
okay, because that's my concern, is that we go to town meeting, we present the salaries, and then we end up paying differently. And I know this is an unusual year.
Well, it's,
Yeah, it's
any
very
situation
unusual,
where
yeah.
you need to throw a Band-Aid on something.
Right,
and-
but in the past, we have paid people out of other salaries if they're filling in extra hours for someone who's out. That I could understand. And that would be in line with this whole
Well,
section of the Mass
the
General.
section 108 is the salary and compensation of all elected officers of a town. So I don't think that really applies to any of the hourly employees.
Well, it talks about the departments of the town halfway through.
Yeah, like
And the
the
appointed
town
em-
clerk is elected.
No, but the departments and the employees who are appointed, which we do all of that, yeah. I know, I thought the same thing when I first got it. I thought, why'd they send me this? This is not helpful. And it's actually, the wording of this is not really fluid, I don't think. But I think the intention is, we hopefully go to town meeting, we tell them the salaries, and that's what we intend to pay. I would just like to get back to that as a board, back to telling the town meeting what we'd like to pay and then paying it. Staying within the bounds of the budget. I'm a little concerned about that.
Okay. Do we take a vote on that, or just for discussion? I think probably just for discussion. We all set on that?
Because I think Ellen's stipend's gone.
Oh, that's already gone?
We just appointed a treasurer, and that's what she was getting it for.
Okay, so we're stepping towards this.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
And then,
okay,
I
okay.
think she was getting another portion for the CARES Act, and that's wrapping up. And once the CARES Act is done, that's gone. And then
And then you're going to talk to the council, to Denise. Okay.
I'll bring it up to Denise
right.
and see if they can,
That's good.
if she can bring it up to their board. And if we have to, maybe we'll have to be asked to be on their agenda so we can talk to their board.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
great, good. Thank you.
Next is vote to lay out Greenway as a public way. We should have that paperwork here.
Yeah.
The town needs to, the Board of Selectmen needs to vote on accepting the Grammy Way as a public way, and then it'll need to go to a town meeting vote, but the process starts here. Selectmen have to vote that their approval, and then follow up when it's conversation with the planning director. She said that was the process. So, everybody know where, I think it's pronounced Gramey Way, Graeme,
Actually, haven't been up
up
that
off
way.
of Esty, up off of Esty Way.
Yeah.
Looks like 2, 4, 5, 7 houses. Well, Rebecca must have heard us talking about her. You did?
My ears were ringing.
Excuse me?
My ears were ringing.
That could be a good thing. Look, we're talking about Gramey Way, and up off of Esty Way. And I just mentioned that I had conversation with you, and it starts with us, so we need to approve it, and then it goes to town meeting.
That
Do
is
you have anything to
correct.
add?
And there was a positive recommendation from the planning board for a favorable vote by the Board of Selectmen and town meeting.
I just have a question. How about from the highway superintendent?
Yes, the highway superintendent was also in favor, and then we also have a sign-off from the fire department.
Oh, good. Okay, any questions for Rebecca? Go ahead, Bill.
So the contractor has fulfilled all his obligations on the property, and there's nothing, no further work to be done that would prohibit us from accepting this? Is that,
That is correct.
okay.
Any other questions? None? Somebody make a motion?
How do you pronounce that? Is it Graham?
I think it's Graham.
Okay,
I think.
I believe so. I'll make a
Everyone's going to
motion
be
that
asking this now.
the town accept Graham Way as a public road effective today date?
Well, it would be
Well, no, we have
approval
to
of
go
the
to-
laying out of the way, and then town meeting will have to make the official vote to accept the way itself.
Okay, what she said.
So
I'll
make a-
second that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank
You
you.
remember what you said now?
Thank you very much.
The lane out of the way, and it has to go to town meeting for approval. That's all. That goes on there.
Next, old business, waste management contract, zero waste contract.
I
Kathy,
believe-
you were working on that?
Well, I believe they're both concluded at this point, at least as far as, the town attorney has done the changes. Rebecca coordinated between Waste Zero and the town attorney to look over how the money would be wired, and the price remains the same. They will take 39 cents per bag, I believe. Rebecca was able to negotiate the initial upfront expenditure down to, I believe, under $7,000, so that was more in line with what you were looking for. That would be their first bulk purchase. So the next step will be, I believe, that Waste Zero will begin coordinating production of these bags and then coordinating with our retailers to sell them. So if there's other retailers that anyone has come across, I didn't know if Obashan would be one that we'd want over there, but Market Basket, I think, will say yes, I hope, and our local businesses as well. And I think the Board of Health said they would like to have a supply of bags here as well, in the event that someone passing through the town hall wants a bag. If the Board of Health sells the bag, there's no need for them to send any money anywhere because we've already paid for it. So we would be able to just deposit the money. So other than that, I don't think there's really anything else except to coordinate some kind of a distribution of a flyer to advise people of this change that's coming up on the first of the year. It should be fairly smooth and seamless we'll coordinate with waste management as well, so that they will maybe, if somebody puts out too many things, maybe the first time leave just a note, pick up the stuff. As far as picking up all the bags, Chairman Watson asked about that. Yes, they will. The reason the wording in the contract doesn't designate the number of barrels and bags is so that we can do that. So they will pick up as many Waste Zero bags as people want to put out. You can put out unlimited recycling, and you can put out as many additional Waste Zero bags as you wish. You've paid for them. So the restriction will be on the barrels, either one 64-gallon barrel or two 32-gallon barrels, but unlimited recycling as we currently have.
Well, we don't need a vote on this. We already voted on it. This is just an update. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Update on the water and sewer highway union contract negotiations. I think, Jason, you and Kathy were working on that?
Yes, I believe we have a date set,
We have a date.
which is,
This is a date to come before the Board of Selectmen?
Nope.
no, to meet with,
Mr.
Ken.
Bergen.
yeah, Mr. Burgeon.
So you and Kathy are going to meet with the union representative?
Yes, and we're gonna try to hash the rest of this out. And you're bringing,
The 25th, it's the same night as our meeting, Mr. Chairman, so I was hopeful to use the back conference room because we're going to do just two 45-minute sessions and then be ready for our meeting.
and we're also using,
Oh, we're using the town attorney as well. That's
Yes.
why we had to pick this
You're gonna
date.
use the what?
town
Di-
attorney.
Okay.
Yes,
good idea.
Brian Mazer, Mr. Mazer. So we'll have town
When is
attorney.
that?
25th.
25th.
Thank you.
For just 45-minute sessions. And we'll stick to the timeline and we'll stick to the items that were already before the board.
Okay. Next is the police union contract review and signing. Jason, is that behind you over there?
I hope
Do
so.
not
It
believe
came in
so.
on the 28th.
I did not see it. The only thing I grabbed was the warrant, so unless you have it up
Oh, maybe I
there,
have it here.
not that they dumped a little bit of paperwork in front of you today.
Jennifer Smith did
I'm looking
forward
at
the
this colored
corrected contract on the 28th of September, noting that all the dollar signs somehow had inadvertently been changed to eights. So she went through the entire contract and fixed it. Typo. What are you gonna do?
No, I don't see it here. We'll dig that out and,
Yeah, I forwarded it to Catherine, let's see, at 4:02 PM on September 28th.
Jason, is she on,
Yeah, she said she never received it.
she didn't receive it? Okay, Bill, can you send it again?
Sure.
Well, could he send it to somebody who's here to print it out and then we could get it accomplished?
That's a good idea, too.
Like Ellen or
I don't know if
Michelle?
they're still here.
Want me to check?
Mike,
Send a copy to Rebecca.
Mike, you're on the payroll.
Rebecca's here, right.
Check and see if, permanent, can you check and see if
Rebecca's here.
Rebecca or, yeah, check with Rebecca first.
She could send it to a printer. Be one
Thank
less
you.
thing to have to keep carrying over.
No overtime on this, Mike.
We could change hiring of a treasurer collector to
Well, I think we've,
hiring assistant treasurer now.
assistant treasurer collector.
So we need to take down the postings.
A surprise.
So we'll need to post that hiring of an assistant treasurer collector.
Right. I believe I had asked Michelle in anticipation of that, do we need to vote this as a board? She was going to look over the job description for the assistant versus the treasurer, make sure they were still good, because before the treasurer was the finance director. So,
Yeah, we should vote that. She's gonna post that?
she was going to look at the job description that we have on file for the assistant treasurer and the treasurer position. It should be fine. Do we want to ask her quickly if she wants a vote now? Otherwise, it'll be
I
two more
think-
weeks.
Is she here?
I think we should definitely look at it prior,
Okay,
instead of just having her.
okay, so we should look
Piece it
at
together.
both jobs and vote it to post.
Yeah, I think that'd be best.
Well,
Okay,
you and Dan will, Kathy and Dan were working on the treasurer, so maybe we can assign them the
more work?
go-ahead on that.
Did you get it, Mike?
Oh, that might be good, that way there.
No?
Not here?
You can just look at it and she can, then you can decide.
Resend it to grovelandtownplanner@gmail.com. I think it got filtered out because of the size.
Oh, you have to use mail drop or airdrop or whatever that thing is. That thing.
grovelandtownplanner@gmail.com.
Is it airdrop? I don't even know what it
All
is.
one
It just
word?
happens.
Yeah.
At Gmail?
Yeah, Gmail will handle it better.
Thank you for your help. Okay, so Dan and Kathy can take care of checking that assistant treasurer's before posting. Next, Monday night hours discussion. I had spoken with Catherine during the week, last week, and as yet, the employees aren't in favor of it yet. They would have to, if I have it correctly, is Catherine still on? Maybe she can correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
No. That they already had their maximum hours for the week, so they would have to cut back on some of the hours at some point so that they can work it in with their assigned hours. I hope I have that one correct. Bill, you had something?
No, pre-pandemic, wouldn't we just go back to pre-pandemic hours?
Well, that's what I thought.
And they worked late on Monday night, certain departments, not all of them, and then those departments typically cut out early on Friday. Am I missing something?
I don't think so. Dan, go ahead.
I don't understand why we don't go back to pre-pandemic, other than, is there a reason why we stay open on Monday? I mean, that's just, is it a convenience to the citizens of the town?
It was convened, I think it was in our bylaws. But
Well, if it's in the bylaws, maybe we find out and we should follow bylaws.
Ed,
go ahead.
it is in the bylaws. I have them here.
Yeah.
We should, I
Could you
think,
read it out?
yeah, finance, Monday, 8 AM to 8 PM. Tuesday through Thursday, 8 AM to 4 PM. Friday, 8 to 12. And it's my understanding that with the half-hour unpaid lunch, this falls within everybody's actual hours that they should be scheduled for, the total hours. The town clerk is exactly the same. The assessors is a little different, 12 PM to 8 PM on Monday, and then Tuesday through Thursday, 8 AM to 4 PM, and closed on Friday. The building department, 6 PM to 8 PM on Monday, Tuesday and Thursday, 8 to 12, 8 AM to 12 PM, and inspections daily. The Board of Health is also listed here, but I do believe, since the Board of Health is an elected board, they would be making any exceptions as we did with the pandemic and shortage in staff. And then the Economic Development and Planning and Conservation is 8 AM to 8 PM Monday, Tuesday through Thursday, 9 AM to 4 PM, and Friday, 8 AM to 12 PM. I believe, again, it falls within everybody's hours that they're scheduled to be worked.
Just a question there. You mentioned assessors.
Yes.
They're also under a separate board.
Are they?
Sure, they're on an elected board of assessors.
I wasn't aware that we still had that. Well, then I guess that would be the same. It would fall to them to make that determination whether or not they could go back to the bylaws. But I think for town hall, generally, everything else under our control, which I believe would be the town clerk, finance, economic development, planning and conservation, the building department. I think we should maybe give them 2 weeks and we should resume our hours as posted on the bylaw.
So you want to start Monday, October 25th?
Yes. I think it's time. And I also think some of the departments, because I can't imagine Monday nights would be very busy, it would be a good time to help catch up.
Good time to what?
Catch up work. 'Cause I don't imagine that they're going to be overly overwhelmed with customers.
Okay. Somebody want to, Dan, you had a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to read into the bylaws, you know, the rationale, and if they're here, and they, you know, not just for the public, but if they're here at the same time with the Board of Selectmen, if we need to interact with them, I mean, we bring them in here and they're getting paid for that time. Otherwise, if we want to talk to the department heads, I mean, they have to schedule time outside of their work schedule. So I think there has to be some overlap with our meetings, the people that work here, if we want to keep it open, a communication channel and kind of know what's going on and interact. I think it's, you know, I think there's a purpose to it beyond just, you know, opening the doors for people to just come here after work. Because they certainly don't need to talk with all of those people. I just reading into it, but I think it'd be good for just, in terms of governance, to just put people on the agenda and they're here.
Okay, put that in the form of a motion. Jason,
I'll make a motion that we resume our hours for the building as posted in the general bylaw and on October 22nd,
5th.
25th.
25th, that's it.
You meant that.
I meant that, yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And a second. Any further discussion? Bill?
Does this also mean that the board will go back to pre-pandemic times, meeting at 6:30?
We used to meet at 6 sometimes, one board. It's been 6 to 6.
It's always at 6:30 since I've been here, other than once we hit the pandemic, we moved it to 4:30 just to get people the heck out of here and safe. We moved it back with the easing of some restrictions, and now with the going back to a more normalized schedule, do we go back to a more normalized schedule as well?
Good point. You want to make an amendment to your motion?
No.
Oh, you want to? All right. Dan, you got a comment or a motion?
I want to go back to 6:30.
Make a motion.
Why don't we do this motion first?
I make
and
an
then-
unfriendly amendment to you. I don't
No,
know.
why tie them
Procedurally,
together?
Make an amendment, just an amendment to his main motion.
I make a motion to amend to go back to pre-pandemic 6:30 Board of Selectmen meetings. I mean, it's a pain in the butt getting here for 5:30, you know?
The motion,
Second that.
for an amendment to Jason's motion to go, add the Board of Selectmen move to pre-pandemic 6:30 meetings. Is there a second on that vote, on that motion?
Second that.
Bill seconded it.
Bill seconded that. Any further discussion? None. All in favor, moving to 6:30? Unanimous. That's on the amendment. Now we need a motion to,
We already
on the
have,
main motion, we have a motion, we need a vote on that, to open up the town hall on Monday night, starting Monday, October 25th, and in conjunction with that, the Board of Selectmen will move back to 6:30. There's a motion on the floor in a second. Any further discussion on that? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Selectmen's time. Dan?
what about this fall town meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry, fall town meeting, date and discussion. We have some paperwork on that.
We do? Was it in our packet?
We do, I don't know that it was,
I,
Let me look. I didn't see it. Hang on.
this was, I think
Oh,
we
the
had.
deadline's from the clerk, yes.
Yeah, yes, this came from the town clerk. Gives a timeline that she's going to need to prepare the warrants. And
So,
it looks,
looks like it could work.
no schedule request. The facility request listed below is approved. This was to the school for a special town meeting on November 8th. Setup time 5:30. So I don't know what time the meeting would start, doesn't list it here. She was just notifying the school of our request.
Okay.
Uh,
Could we ask the town planner to come back, because I believe she's working on the draft warrant, just to make sure that that's okay.
Yeah, we could ask her if
She- I
she's
think
here.
she's
Doesn't this
working with-
mention about the timeline?
What's that?
Oh,
Oh,
it's on the thumb drive now?
there we go.
You put it on there.
I
You-
put it, you
no.
kidding me? It still
Nope.
doesn't go?
You put it on there.
Man,
Okay, the,
I don't know if I can.
the town clerk needs to post to the website the dates and the deadline to register to vote. So would you post that for me, and possible, show me how for future postings? So, Mike, could you see if Rebecca is still here? Could you ask her if she'd come in? Rebecca, could you take the hot seat, please?
Of course, always.
Look, we're looking at scheduling a special town meeting for November 8th, and it was brought up about warrants, posting of warrants. Do you have any information on that?
Yes, so I do know that, and working with the town accountant, we are fearful of trying to schedule a special town meeting as early as what the Board of Selectmen had suggested, being November 8th. The turnaround time and getting that posted, getting everything together, and trying to close the books is really tight, and the numbers wouldn't necessarily be as finalized as we would like. So in talking with the town accountant, we had suggested potentially moving the fall town meeting to early December, allowing us more time to close out the books, get the final numbers, and put together a warrant that could be easily followed, and also meet the timing requirements for posting of such special town meeting.
Thank you. Was there a suggested date?
We did not have a suggested date. We just mentioned that maybe earlier December, or, getting closer to the end of December might be a little challenging based upon holidays and things of that nature, but maybe giving us at least November, and then getting into the early December timeframe might be a little bit more feasible for us to get you all the documentation that you need and to make this go seamlessly.
Thank you. Jason, you got your calendar out there?
Yes.
You got something scheduled, got something on,
So that would be, if I kept it on Monday, December 6th or the 13th.
is there a preference?
The more time we have, the better, just because we know that they have to do some work in the treasurer's office and getting those numbers posted so that Ellen can then proceed with her line of work in closing out and reconciling the books.
Okay. Kathy?
I'm all in favor of taking as much time to make sure that the warrant that we vote on is good. I'm not as concerned about trying to certify free cash. In fact, the Department of Revenue sent us an email a while back saying they recommend that we get our tax rate set as a priority over certifying free cash. Now, I mean, obviously, if it can happen, sure. But my biggest concern is not to go too far into December because of a couple of things. There's activities at the schools that start to kick in that occupy the school building and that occupy the people that we need at the town meeting.
Of course.
And, of course, the weather. And then, most importantly, getting our tax bills out. So we look to get our tax bills out when? Is it January 1st or is it, do you remember, Selectman O'Neill, last year it was like touch and go, but they got out. Was it January 1st, do you know?
No, but I do agree that getting the tax recap process started and then also getting things ready for the budget moving
Yeah.
forward with the departments is equally important. But that being said, that's all additional items that is going to fall mainly on the finance department to pull together.
Yeah.
And I think that it's reasonable to give them proper time in order to prepare the documents to your satisfaction, instead of just overloading the department and kind of asking them to put together a special, do the tax recap, do the closing of the books, getting the tax bills out. You have a brand-new treasurer. So there's a
yep.
lot of moving pieces, so the suggestion is to give us some time to be able to accommodate. But at the same time, we also have to work with Principal Day and getting the figures ready for the school and making sure that everything's lined up based upon some of the new information about the insurance and the flooding over in the activity room, and then what other items need to be done and what can be done with some of the monies that we do have and things of that nature. So we're
Simple.
we're kind of in a flux right now
I
based
know,
upon
I
the
get it.
situation that we
I
find
get
ourselves
it.
in.
The weeks go a lot faster than you realize, so would it be all right if we did a tentative vote on December 6th, contingent on availability of the building? Would that be enough time?
I think that would be better than November 8th, at least
Okay.
from the standpoint of myself. I can confirm with the town accountant, but I believe she would also agree.
Jason, is that a meeting night?
Yes. At least according to my calendar, it is. Wait a minute. Yep, it says selectmen meeting.
December
6th,
5th,
6th,
6th?
yes.
Okay. So you want to put that in the form of a motion to schedule the...
Make a motion to schedule the special town meeting for Monday, December 6th, contingent on the availability of the Bagnell School, in order to give staff a little more time.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Second. Any further discussion?
That's going to be a tough one.
Go
'cause
ahead.
They typically have the, what do they call it, the Festival of Lights around that
I
time?
know. Hopefully not Monday night.
They have it for a couple of nights, I think, right?
I don't know.
I don't know, that's going to, whatever. We'll just have to
We'll-
see what
we'll-
happens.
We'll go with this until we're told we cannot go to this.
I don't know what the date they have planned.
Oh, and the tax bills last year went out on 12/30. Michelle just sent a text. I love the staff. So we could hopefully hit that deadline. Yes, I know it's a lot of moving parts. So,
Okay, so any further discussion? Tentative date, as long as it's okay with the...
Thank you.
with the school, December 6th, Monday. Any further discussion? None, all in favor?
Yeah.
Unanimous.
could we make
Thank
sure
you.
to send a communication out within all of this, the town departments, everybody, so they all know that this is what we're looking at?
If the Board of Selectmen would like me to do so, I can do that.
What do you say, Board of Selectmen? Shall we
Sure.
communicate?
Sure, go ahead.
I think we should.
Go ahead.
I feel like we vote in this little bubble and then nobody, nobody knows what we're doing.
Yes, that
We feel
happens
like we've
often.
accomplished so much.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in again.
Thank you.
Selectmen's time. Select McDonald. You have anything?
Yeah, it's hot as hell in here.
Excuse me?
It's hot in here.
It is hot in
I'm
here.
sweating bullets.
It is.
So, if it's gonna be 85, 90 in here next meeting, I'm gonna dress like I'm on Gilligan's Island, like Joe mentioned a while back. Just let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Chief Gillen and his entire staff for achieving their certification. The Massachusetts State Certification from the Massachusetts Police Accreditation Commission. And what that means to the folks out there is the department is committed to meeting professional standards. The department is willing to be assessed regularly by commission-appointed assessors to confirm compliance with professional standards, and the department agrees to correct deficiencies discovered during the assessment to establish or reestablish compliance and standards. So my hat's off to Chief Gillen and his entire department for reaching this very vital accreditation, and I believe they're moving forward with other certifications that will enhance the overall department's professionalism. So hats off to them. And one more thing. Based on what happened here the last meeting, I just can't do this anymore. I can't. To remain silent at this point would be complicit. and I just can't be complicit in these actions anymore. So I would like to make a motion at the next meeting that we reorganize the board.
I'll second that,
Motion and a second.
the next meeting.
Actually, I don't think we can take a vote on during selectmen's time, but we can put that, have that put on the agenda for the next meeting. Jason, do you have anything?
Yes, I would really like to take a moment to thank Brandon, the town administrator of Essex, for taking the time to speak with me. He might not be aware of it yet, but I will be contacting him often because he's a wealth of information, him and his assistant, Pam. I also want to thank Ryan, the town administrator for Wenham. Although we didn't speak, we did play quite a bit of phone tag trying to get in touch with each other. And I wanted to thank Carol over in Merrimack, the finance director, for responding to my email and giving me the information I requested.
She's very good. Did you try to reach out to Angus too
Yes.
in West Newbury? He's very good too. Very
I haven't heard back from him yet, or Joseph in Hamilton. But
surprising.
his email is incorrect on the town website, so.
Angus is typically very responsive and very keen on getting back to people.
Yeah, I talked to Neil, the finance director, because he's a patron at the dog park, so.
Where else?
Where
Did they play
else?
baseball? Seeing them?
Anything else?
That's it.
Kathy, do you have anything?
No, I was trying to find the date for the Whittier Votech open house, because I think we're doing an in-person open house this year. I believe we're opening up the building. So as soon as I can get it, I can forward it to you. Maybe you can send it out. It's a good time to come in and see the facility, see what your dollars pay for. It's usually well attended. I know last year it was just virtual, but I think this year it will be in person. At least that's what I'm thinking.
5 minutes.
Wait and see. Don't hold your breath, right?
I know.
That's the
Thank you.
contract?
Telling you.
Whoa, give it to Dan to proof. He's our proofer.
Yeah, we should probably just put it on the next meeting.
Is it-
Oh, that's just one.
This is just for a
Oh, science
signature?
No,
committees.
we can-
I like
it's
that.
already been voted.
We already voted on it.
Changing
Yeah.
my
Just need to
stipend to
sign
an
it.
8.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, well, we can,
Yes, we ratified it until we had the copy tentatively, and then the copy came through with some typos that we were going to allot people $81,000.
I'm looking for that section.
Thank you.
well,
Oh, it's
let's
well,
revert
well,
back to, let's revert back to the police union contract review and signing,
Okay.
and then we'll go back to selectmen's time.
This isn't it. This isn't the one.
It's not the one?
No, the one it still has 82,000, 8120, but the one I have here didn't, because I reviewed it, and I went strictly to that page.
This is 81,000 for single coverage,
Yeah.
82.5 for family.
It's still the same way,
Ready?
but that's not,
Tear it up.
so.
The-
So where is it?
Clothing allowance, 81 too.
That's pretty good.
We could dress very nicely.
I need a new suit.
Dan, you look like the juniors in my class wearing their mask. I
I
had
need
one
some
of
new
them like
shirts.
this.
My call is
No, I had one of
crawling
them
up.
like this. I said, no, that's not it.
Okay, we can revert back to that when we get it. Selectmen's time.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a few things that, we need items to be assigned and performed as soon as possible. The ABCC licensing, somebody has to take that over. Catherine left us with all the paperwork here. Some of these have to be sent out for liquor license renewals. And so we have to assign somebody to do that. That needs to be done. Any suggestions? It's quite a bit of work here. And that needs to be, done, retail liquor license, any renewal application not signed and filed by November 30th will be treated as a new license, so we need to get that stuff out as soon as possible. Anybody, any suggestion on who to assign these to? We got the common vic licenses that are up January 1st. These duties fell on our administrative coordinator, and we need to assign somebody. Any suggestions? Dan? I don't know where he went.
How about, why don't you take some of those?
What's that?
Why don't you, take some of those? Dan and I are taking on
What's
the assistant
involved?
treasurer. We just finished with the treasurer, and Jason and I are taking on the union negotiation in October.
These should be assigned to somebody in the town hall
Okay.
to do that. Any ideas?
Well, do you have a suggestion, or?
Treasurer's department?
What's that?
Maybe the treasurer?
I don't know if you, do you want to assign it to her?
I don't want to randomly assign these to just somebody, just because we pick a name out of a hat here tonight. I think this is the worst way to handle this, so I think.
Well, it's
that-
true, but this stuff is imperative that it get done
Okay, well,
soon.
if we need to have a special meeting after we have some time to figure out what this stuff is that has to be done, then I'd be willing to participate and help decide how to get this all done. Obviously, we've been pitching in all along, so I'll always continue to pitch in.
All right, do you want to,
What's the deadline on that, Mr. Chair?
well, there was, the common vics are January 1st, but have to send out the renewal notices so that they can get the information back with their insurance coverage, et cetera. It looks like November 30th is on some of these liquor license renewals. Yeah, I had it here somewhere. I thought there was, any renewal application not signed and filed by November 30th will be treated as a new license. If the renewal application becomes a new license for failure to meet the November 30th signing deadline, it will be subject to the procedures set forth in 13815. So, must be received by the state November 30th, so it's imperative that this get moved along pretty quickly. No, I don't know if we have, do you want to schedule a special meeting sometime next week to,
We're gonna have to talk about posting the position, aren't we?
yeah, I would think so.
Can we just hire a
And there's-
temp help to do this, or is this something that requires?
So,
more?
I mean, if we could fill the spot before November,
Yeah, let's, we
Yeah,
have to do
if.
it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Common vic, it looks like the liquor license have got to be returned and into the state by November 30th. They have to send out the notices and get the paperwork back with the insurance forms, that they're covered with insurance.
Everything is in that stack of papers right there, right?
Yeah. This has got to go to the, this has got to go to the ABCC, Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
Do you know how to do this? Now, I was asking Nancy Lewandowski if she could give us some feedback on it, because she did.
Is this something Rebecca might be willing to do? Is it easy enough?
A lot of
I
work.
feel like she's got the catch.
I know.
But, well, let's just see
It's
what
tough
happens.
sometimes, you need a go-to person.
The
Must be received by the state by November 30th, though it would be due back by November 24th. We don't have much time on some of these.
Yes.
2
The,
months.
We're halfway through October.
Yep.
The, so yeah, 6 weeks.
Nancy says anyone that can type can do it. I don't know what that means.
Well, this needs to be somebody here at the town hall. I know our
Well, I mean, if
administrative
it's-
coordinator took a class on the procedures and all this.
I know I can come in Friday. And if Beth is around Friday, I can grab her ear.
I could stop
And
in on
Ellen's
Friday
here.
on my way home from work for a couple hours if you want.
We'll
if
go-
that's-
yeah,
if that'd be
sure.
helpful.
And we'll go through it and get everything sorted out and sent.
So you want to take custody of those after the meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
If there's anything I can do, shuffle out the deck, be happy to help.
Oh, no, I cannot. Well, no, actually, I'll see how I am. I have a go see a doctor.
Well, I'll come in the morning and see, so
Well,
I
I'll
can
be
catch
here in the
somebody else
morning.
here in the,
If I come
in
in,
the
it'd be in
town
the
hall, so.
afternoon. I'll be in touch with you, though.
Um,
I'll be in touch with
Google is my friend.
you.
What's
Google.
that?
Google is my friend.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we get that contract back yet?
We do, she sent, my mistake was she sent both contracts in the same email. I pulled up the wrong one, now I have the
Okay.
right one. Rebecca's printing it out
All
now.
right, so we need,
Oh, no.
the other thing we need to take care of is insurance claim for the Bagnell School. I don't have any paperwork on that.
Rebecca said she's working on that for the town, and
Yeah, the email I saw today corresponds between Jim Day, her, and I.
Yep.
Said that there was $4,200, if I recall correctly, in damages. The insurance company has a $2,000 somewhat deductible, so leaves the town on the hook for the additional $2,500. But there is no, after talking with Hayden and Mr. Day, there is no asbestos in that room, so the remediation is not that extensive as it would have been.
Nope.
Rebecca, do I have that all correct with the insurance claim
is
at the
this it?
Bagnell Activity Room? That there's a small deductible that we're gonna be responsible for, and other than that, there's no other significant remediation needed in that room to reestablish its use?
That is correct, for the activity room specifically that was damaged by the flooding.
Correct, that's all we're talking about.
That is correct.
I do have a question about that, because you mentioned no asbestos. I thought all the tiles were asbestos.
No, that's what they're telling me, and that particular room must have been already remediated at one
Oh,
time.
fine, okay.
Bummer.
And this is a water damage to that room that we
Yeah,
just
'cause
wanted to.
me and Kathy had saw, we actually visited the room, and, yeah, there was a lot of damage.
It was
But
bad.
I didn't realize those were the new tiles.
I don't have a new room.
It must be Mr. Day would have said this needs to be done as well, so the fact that he responded in such a positive way that this is the only thing that's needed, and it was confirmed by Mr. Hayden and Mr. Day and the contractors and Rebecca. So I corroborated all those sources and checked the boxes, sound like they're all right.
That is correct, and there was additional testing that was sent out specifically in one of the younger classrooms that is, actually just went out today to be tested for the asbestos, but the one in the activity room did come back negative.
Good.
Okay. So are you also working on the insurance rejection for 46 Washington Street?
I have not. I know Catherine had asked me a couple of questions about the use of the building, but I believe she was specifically working on that.
Okay. We need to assign this and to somebody. I'm sure they canceled the insurance because it's a vacant building.
I'd be happy to help if you need me to.
Well, usually when an insurance company cancels, we get a notification.
We did.
Oh, we did, so they
It's in the
did.
agenda package.
Oh, it is, okay, thank you, I can see that. So,
Okay.
Now, does that work because it's different from what everything else is under the town, sort of like VC? It's not under all the same insurance?
It would be with all the town buildings, but they're saying now that there's no staff working in there, it's considered a vacant building. So that's a different category. So maybe it's just an adjustment in our insurance, I'm not positive.
It's still under Maya. Maya was the one who had inquired as to the relative use of the actual building and whether or not the storage component was still being used and whether the office component was still being used. And when we verified that the water department had in fact moved out, the storage aspect was not being used, and there was currently only 2 vehicles, that is when I believe we received this notification, based upon, as Kathy just described, the change of use in the building.
Is that a historical building, per se?
I believe it
Yeah, it
was
was
deemed a
designated,
historical
yeah.
building by the Historical Commission.
So is there any kind of leeway? It's a historical building. Of course, it's probably not going to be occupied because of the nature of the property and the building itself. Don't they make any kind of exceptions to that?
I would be happy to inquire as to what exactly they have and how they classify the buildings and what their breakdown and thresholds are, and get that information to provide to the board.
Right, because Washington Hall, next to the fire station, is not occupied. It's a historic building.
It is, but I believe Washington Hall is utilized every Sunday. They have
Every
office
Sunday.
hours, and they have other, like, events and other types of
They have
uses for the
seasonal
building.
events. So,
So if I go over there every Sunday and unlock the door, does that count? Is it now occupied?
there you go.
Very well could be, I don't know.
Give me
You
a
can
key.
ask.
Every Sunday after golf, I'll go over there and unlock the door. I'll ask if anybody's around. No, I'll close the door, I'll lock it, and we'll leave again.
All right, we can ask Meyer if that will satisfy the requirements.
I mean, it sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Movie Sundays.
All right, so Rebecca, you're going to work on that?
Well, we still have 2
Definitely do that.
vehicles in there,
Right,
too. I
thank
mean, you know, so, yeah, okay.
Just let us know how you're making out on it.
Of course.
I think that was all we needed to assign to anybody. I think we left off with me under Selectmen's time. Just a couple of things that came through. We got communications from Mass DOT that the contract was awarded for the community rail trail to J. Tropiano Incorporated. They expect that the project will be completed in 881 calendar days from the receipt of the notice to proceed.
881?
It says here 881. That's a long
2.5
time.
years? It's
Is that exactly 2.5?
But 2 miles of mainly off-road trail. Mike, it seems like an awful long time. That's like 2.5 years. Okay.
State never wants to move too fast.
No. We also got notified from the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development that we have received a grant in the amount of $75,000 from the Urban Agenda Program and been approved for the Groveland Comprehensive Master Plan Project. So that's good. Also, from the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development, we received a grant for $435,000 from Mass Works Infrastructure Program. Approval for support the signalization of the intersection of Salem Street at School Street project. To begin preparing a contract, please respond with a completed pre-contract form no later than January 31st, 2022. So $435,000 for that. That's a worthwhile project.
Exactly what is that one for, the 435?
What's it for?
Yes.
It says here, signalization of the intersection of Salem Street at School Street,
Salem Street and School Street.
up by the Chinese restaurant and the
Right,
Cove.
so we're talking about traffic light there, we think? Is that what they're,
God, I hope
I-
not.
It looks like it.
Once that 40B development goes up there on Sewell Street, traffic light is, boy, oh boy, the traffic will be backed up all the way to Washington Street.
Without the traffic light, it's already a mess now.
Well,
Without the traffic light.
it is. There's been quite a few accidents, crashes up there at that intersection.
Well, there's so many accesses, you know what I mean? You come out, you can go, there's the straight across or left thing, whatever you want to call that, then there's the go right thing. That's a stop sign now, I think, right?
Stop sign now.
Yeah,
So how would
that should be
you-
a T intersection up there.
So you think they would take out the whole island and redo all of that? Is
Oh,
that-
no.
No more straight across.
Cut down on that. Okay. Items not anticipated. We have request from Chris LaCour for town meeting equipment. Oh.
Hello?
Yeah, Chris, you're on?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm still recovering from surgery.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you guys have any questions for me? I heard that we're having a fall town meeting, so there was some things that I put together for that. I'm glad you pushed it to December because that might means I'll be able to walk by then. So. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we're just reading the,
Chris, could you go over the equipment? We have your
Sure.
paperwork here.
Yeah, so I put together a couple things. I'd like to have redundant recordings at town meeting because right now I don't really have a way to do that. Having backups is always a good thing. We record 3 redundant recordings at town hall. We should do the same at town meeting. So this recorder will allow me to double, the recording feed from the cameras that we're using at town meeting. And the other thing that I want to do is bring in a 2-camera type of production to town meeting because normally I just do it 1 camera and I'm zooming in, zooming out every time to get the crowd. And this monitor recorder will allow us to switch, just like we're in town hall with the switcher, and record that feed. And so I think it'll be a little more dynamic for the people watching to have camera angles switch to, when everybody goes up for a vote or, we're in tight on somebody. It's just a nicer looking way to watch something. And I also think it'd be useful for some of the outdoor stuff we do if we ever get back to normal with Veterans Day and Memorial Day. So I've put that on, and then I put updating some of our batteries and media cards because those are 5 and 6 years old now, and they should be replaced. And then the last thing I put on there was the TV replacement for the middle meeting room. Ed, I know you were asking about that. Sorry it took so long. But there's a nice 4K smart TV in there that I think the COA and you guys will be very happy with. So I'd like to replace that. We have a really ancient one that's been acting up over on the side of the wall there. And the only thing I didn't do was include installation from HB. I need to reach out to them and make sure they can install it. But I don't see that as a problem. That'll probably just be a little bit more to have them come out and hang it, unless we have someone who can do that. I don't know. Yeah, any questions?
Any questions for Chris?
Yeah, Chris, I have one.
Sure.
Chris, I guess at regular town meeting back in May, there was some issues with speakers and feedback and things like that. You know how you're going to address that at special town meeting? Specifically, I guess, the speakers up on the
The
stage.
questions with the speakers, we had everything going through the town, not the town, the Bagnell sound system. We didn't set up speakers of our own. Things are going to feed back when you have 15 microphones. That's really pretty unavoidable. We can try and do a better job of that, but it's really challenging when you've got multiple things going on. Jason was a big help this year to be able to man the soundboard, which we hadn't had in the past because I can only be in one place. But we'll try and do a better job with feedback if that was an issue.
Yeah, I know there was some issues, so I'm just hoping that we learned something from our past experience there with the new audio equipment and working with the Bagnell sound system to produce a better quality meeting than we had last time. Only because I understand it was all kind of new and rushed at the time, but hopefully we learned something from that day. And
yeah, I think it'll be better. I thought the sound quality was pretty good on the recording, at least, but we can take another look at that.
And check with Jim Day. I recall seeing an email circulate around that they replaced some of the speakers in the sound system over there at Bagnell School.
Yeah.
Subsequently?
Okay.
The ones on the stage were removed, I thought.
Yeah, I
forget what the name of
they
those.
were able to tie into the ones in the cafeteria. So there's been some changes down there.
so that made my
We used those. We used those in April. We were going through the overhead speakers.
Yeah.
I know there was a lot of question about whether we would be able to, but ultimately we were. But we also, we do have now the two speakers that we got. They were back ordered until October, believe it or not, from last April because of
COVID.
shortages, whatever. So we could set those up as well if you feel like it wasn't loud enough in the room. Is that kind of what you were getting to, Bill?
No, it's plenty loud enough in the room. There were just some moments of feedback, I think, because the speakers were so close behind us at the table that there was occasionally we got a little feedback. But if the speakers have been moved,
well,
then that might render the whole
about
comment
that, and that's
moot.
why I wanted to be down on the floor. That's what HB recommended we do, but ultimately we were told to be up on the stage and just try and be as close as we could away from the speakers. So maybe we can try a different positioning with that.
Chris,
and
we were on the
some better
floor.
results.
We weren't on the stage, we were on the floor.
Yeah,
Oh, we were?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, we were.
Yes, we were.
Sorry about, my memory isn't that great.
It was his.
Seems like a long time ago.
Any other questions for Chris?
Well, are we looking, is this costed out? Are we looking to have something that we need to vote on, or, because we never really set a budget for,
So that's actually something I've been doing. I've been looking into that. I finally got some of that information from Ellen so that I can go back a couple years and figure out what we should be doing. I think I'll be coming to you a couple times this year to sort of build back what we should be replacing and really staying on top of that, because it's just sort of been we'll get to it when we get to it kind of a thing. And, we want to look to the future and be proactive so that we don't get caught with things failing and breaking that should have been replaced. But, I've never had an easy way to just do it myself or, whatever. So I'm trying to be a little more proactive on that. And, yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else for Chris?
so we're not voting something now, but Chris, you're going to give us something that you want us to vote on? I'm just trying to understand.
Oh, no, I am requesting that you approve the equipment list that I put before you for this so that we get stuff in time for town meeting. I am putting together an annual budget for, April or whenever town meeting is. And, we should discuss that and figure out how you want to do that. But I've needed to put together sort of what we're working with. One of the questions I have is, are we even getting payments from Comcast? Because I don't even know if the contract's been renewed. I would hope that we are, or I would hope that those are close at hand. But I don't have the answer to that question. I know we extended the contract renewal, and I spoke with Bill, the attorney from KP Law. I can't remember his last name at the moment, but I spoke with him in July, and they sounded like they were very close to an agreement. So I would like to just check in on where that's at. I don't know if what the situation has been is since the expiration of the other one, we haven't been getting any payments, or did we finalize it and we have been. I've never really seen that stuff regularly. So, in order to plan all this, that's helpful, obviously.
Yeah, Chris, as far as I know, the payment should have continued because we should still be operating under the existing conditions of the contract that had expired. So we should
Okay.
still be getting something. And now,
Okay, I did ask Ellen to look into that, but that's obviously an important question, and hopefully they're close. I am also working on applying for a community compact grant to help us transition over to fiber. That's a couple months out, but I met with Rebecca about how to put in an application for that and maybe save us some big capital expenditures when we do upgrade to the HD channels as the new contract is as specified. Because one of the things we've wanted to do for quite some time now is connect the two buildings and transition away from the 1980s modulators that we have to rely on. Because if those die, we're not in good shape. So that's something else that I've been working on.
Now, Chris, one more thing. I know I sat on the capital improvement for 4 years, and we discussed a lot of things, but we never really discussed your department. And I think it's probably time that you guys are on the radar. Could you put together a 5-year plan, that shows equipment replacing, when it needed and things like that, so that we could begin to plan, put that on the
that's
radar,
also
and
something I
understand the
have started,
needs
Bill,
going forward?
And obviously having what's in the accounts and knowing what we have to work with is a big part of that. So now that I have some of that information, I can do a better job of looking at what we should be doing and when we should be doing it. But yeah, I will get you something soon.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Anybody else?
In time for the next budget season, I would say is realistic unless you need it sooner.
Kathy, go ahead.
I'm curious about the TV replacement. If you said it's going to be a smart TV. Will
Yeah.
it be placed more where the screen is so that we can utilize it during our meetings, or?
That wasn't something that I looked at. If that's something you guys feel you need, I can look at that. It was more just replace the TV that's on the wall because that's been acting up and it's 15 years old, and it just seemed like that would be a good thing to do. If you guys are looking for more of sort of an interactive type of display or something, I can look into that, but I'm not sure that it makes sense for it to be over there because that's pretty far away from where you guys are going to be. So one of the things that we were thinking about was trying to create a wireless connection way to interact with the projector, so that you could maybe Chromecast or screen share with
Right, AirPlay. or
either a
something,
laptop or something like that.
Correct. Well, that's what
So
I'm thinking. We have a screen and an outdated projector here, and could we replace that with a larger smart television? And, you get two uses, the council on aging and meeting use. For any board that's using this meeting room, that'd be a great way to display things that are, we're trying to talk about.
Okay, we can look into that. We don't. I wouldn't say we have an outdated projector, but maybe we need to upgrade the connection modes. We have an HD projector, but yeah, we can be flexible and look at different ways to do stuff. So that's something I can look into.
Jason, you had a comment with Chris?
No, he said exactly what I was gonna say.
Oh, all right. Okay, do we need to vote on this 13,000,
Well, I don't have the money on mine, do we?
13,211.97?
You didn't get this?
Chris, just
All I have is this.
$500 for that 50-inch TV, that's all?
Well, that's not gonna be.
Yeah, I didn't, it didn't need to be, 120 hertz. I mean, if you'd prefer that, I can. And, we could spend 3 times as much as that. But
Sounds good.
I think you can get a pretty good TV nowadays for about $500. So if you want us to spend more, we can. But I thought that TV had everything that COA and we would need for our purposes.
Okay. And this will come out of the cable TV, what is equipment fund. There's 2 funds there, one for salaries, wages.
Yeah.
One for,
We definitely have it, in the accounts. I did finally get a chance to look at that and see what's in there. So,
well, there's plenty.
It's, even though but it is the ratepayers' money, I just feel that the purpose of this room for meetings is not fully supported by the technology that we currently have in the room. This is not user-friendly for most people that would come in and use this room. And I don't see why
okay.
we can't.
Well, we can make changes. I was told 4 or 5 years ago, make sure we put in a projector, and that's how we're going to do it. So that's what we did. And if that's not working for you guys, we can do something else.
Jason, you had a follow-up?
Name is Jason Jesus. I live in Lee, New
Can you
Hampshire.
speak a little louder?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. So one of the main things that we run into is we don't know what the budget is. We don't know. So we try to like here's some items and then kind of have a feel. If you guys want, we can come up with several lists of things that we can major changes that can help you guys do your meetings a little bit more efficiently. We can come up with a list and present it to you guys, and then you guys can decide, hey, let's go for this, let's go for that. Does that sound better for you guys?
Yes, I've seen what the electric department put into their snazzy new meeting room.
Yeah,
and
no,
I feel
there's
like we're behind the times.
there's some technologies that are awesome, but then the price
Well,
goes up.
We were
as well.
actually looking into that, and we did have HB and Ockers come in and look at ways to make the projector more interactive. I know we've had a lot of trouble with the wall input plate. I've never been happy with it. We've replaced it 3 times. I hadn't been very happy with HB as a vendor for many different reasons. So I was looking at switching to somebody who's also on the state contract, and they did come in. I've also been talking to Michael, who did from Unique Systems, who did the boundary mic audio fix, and I felt like he did, and the PA system in that room, and I felt like he did a really good job with both of those. Excuse me, my phone's slipping. And he had some ideas for ways to, connect from a computer and things that we could make things more visually interactive. So I had a couple people looking into that, and we can certainly share those plans with you guys soon if you want to move forward on something like that.
I have one quick question. Have you talked
Yeah.
to the Council on Aging Director or the board in terms of what their needs might be?
Not since the new director has been hired. I haven't. If you want me to, I'd be happy to.
I think Jason's got you covered.
Not the Council of Aging, but the Planning Board. I've talked to several people around just to kind of get a feel.
But since the Council of Aging does use this,
Yeah,
I definitely would recommend speaking to them and getting them
Sure thing.
more involved in it.
Sure thing.
Okay.
I mean, I would say I'm very open to ideas that would make this meeting room more user-friendly, and, obviously, we don't want to
Yeah.
spend more money than we have, but we also don't want to shortchange ourselves and then 3 more years be still, looking at all the amount of work it
Yeah.
takes to set up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot, right?
it
I mean,
takes-
I'm not
it
even a
takes a second.
techie, but I'm looking at this and going, this looks like a lot of work.
Research behind it to make sure it's compatible with certain
Right.
things, because you don't want to purchase something and then be like, oh, it's not compatible because we need this part and then we need this part, and then it just
Right.
racks up expenses fairly quick too. It's not nothing like, but
One of the other things I was briefly looking at, and I don't know if this is closed yet or not, but I was looking at potentially a video conference upgrade to how we currently do the Zoom for that like table area, possibly through the CARES Act. So it's on my list of things to do to see if maybe we can still do some upgrades in this room with that. So if that has your blessing, that's another idea too.
Chris, just a question on this amount. Is all these items on the state bid list, so that it doesn't have to go out to bid?
That's a good question. I'm not sure B&H's status on that. I know we've bought through them before. That would be more of a Rebecca question, I think, or whoever is doing our procurement now. We could just order this list through HB. They are on the state bid list. It may take longer. One of the things I was worried about was, there's been a lot of back orders with technology and computers and, camera and video equipment because of, COVID and everything else. So some of this stuff was back ordered, and pushing the fall town meeting out, I think, will definitely help with that. But I can check and see. I just wouldn't want to delay. If I was assuming that this was going forward November, early November. So now that it is not, that gives us more time. But yeah, that's an open question that I'm not really sure. Does it need to go out to bid? Does it not? I thought under a certain threshold doesn't, but please let me know what that is.
When does it need to be purchased to have it installed for the scheduled special town meeting?
I would say in the next 2 weeks would be ideal, 2 to 3 or weeks. Nothing is getting permanently installed over there, so that definitely makes it more flexible on our end. I know. I talked to B&H today, and they're back ordered on one of the things until probably mid-November. So it's kind of a thing by thing. But I put in certain redundancy in there in case they don't, in case that doesn't open up.
Chris,
Okay.
the global supply chain is a disaster right now, and I would suggest if you're going to order anything, you order it as soon as you can, because
Yeah.
things are not coming through. Nothing.
Well, yeah. Sorry. That's again why I've put this together, because we don't have a fall town meeting every year, and 2 weeks ago was kind of the first time that I had heard that we were going to. So I tried to be as responsive as possible with making sure that we will have what we need in time.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Ms.
Kathy, go ahead.
You asked about procurement, and so I didn't know if you're aware that we appointed Rebecca Oldham as the procurement agent for the town because she's certified in that. So that
Okay. Yeah,
she
that's what
can-
I thought, but I wasn't
Okay.
100%
Yeah,
sure.
so I would
'Cause it seems
definitely
like it's-
review through her, and more than glad to approve this going forward, with the thought that if you have a way to make the visuals in this meeting tie in with the television purchase, even if it costs a little more, it might be money well spent.
Yeah.
Might be worth it.
Any other questions for
Understood.
Chris? So Chris, when you speak with Rebecca, you're going to get a final figure for us, and is that something that, if we voted at the October 25th meeting, will that be enough time?
That might be cutting it close only because if people are putting in back orders, they would maybe get ahead of us. You know, I would hate to push that off 2 weeks, but it may not be the end of the world, but I would certainly rather do it sooner rather than later, if that makes sense, if that's possible.
Well, with that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this pending the procurement, with the exception of the TV. Just because.
Yeah, that can certainly wait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's not time restricted, and it would allow you time to get with the council and agent to make sure we accommodate their needs as well.
Sure. Yeah. We'd be happy to do that. I just, I know it had been mentioned that we should update that a while back, and then I had surgery, so that can certainly wait.
So I'll second
until we get
that.
that all squared away.
I was going to say, if you can give me a hard number, I'll second that.
It's,
You're going to go with the 13,211.97?
pending
Minus the
procurement and minus the
496.
TV.
Minus about 500 for the TV.
Yes, and pending the procurement approval.
12,
The
7.
12,711.97?
Yeah.
Okay, the motion on the floor in a second.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you,
Jason.
guys. I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Speedy recovery.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would recommend nobody at home trips over shoes in bare feet. You might have a nasty compound fracture that they need to go to the bone for.
That's bad. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Anything else under items not reasonably anticipated?
Yes, I did, I think I spoke with you today, did I, or the other day, regarding the COVID numbers in Groveland. There was a COVID cluster evidently in the Bagnell at 12, and now the COVID number is up to 19. I don't have specifics as to how many are involved with the school and outside the school, but the concern from the Board of Health is that they're going to require contact tracing hours outside of the health nurse. So I would hope that the board would support as much as 15 hours additional salary at $35 per hour through the CARES Act to support the contact tracing. And it can take up to an hour sometimes, depending on the phone call and getting in touch with people. So to get 12 and then jump to 19 cases is a lot of time. For the health nurse works 6 hours per week and has a full-time job. So my understanding is she would not be able to go above that 6 hours. We would need to engage perhaps prior contact tracer, Linda might be available, or take on a new contact tracer. One or both of those things may have to happen in the near future.
Okay, what's your wishes? Any comments? Questions for Kathy about that?
Well, according to the town planner who is handling the CARES Act, we needed to put in some type of a figure before the end of October in order to secure an allotment of that CARES Act money. So my thought was, initially the Board of Health had asked for an extra 10 hours per week. And I said maybe bump it to 15, given what's going on right now. Does anybody, I mean, we're just shooting in the
You're
dark
throwing darts
here.
at the board. I mean,
We are,
it's
so-
anybody's guess.
I would rather be a little bit above in saying how much more time they'll need for contact tracing than fall below it.
Undercommit and overachieve.
Yep. So if you're all right with that.
Over the 15 hours, put that in the form of a motion?
Okay, so I've already suggested to the town planner who's handling the CARES Act that we secure for the Board of Health contact tracing 15 hours per week at $35 an hour, an allocation of budget from the CARES Act.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
In a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, we'll move on to correspondence. October 4th email from Joe Demore regarding protocols for meetings. Resignation of Mary Hohenstein from the library effective October 16th, 2021. Resignation of Eric Gorski as a sergeant of the Groveland Police effective October 18th, 2021. Resignation of Catherine Warden as administrative coordinator effective October 18th, 2021. Catherine's done a great job. She's, is she still on, Jason?
Yeah.
You know?
Don't believe so.
She's done a great job for us. She took on a lot of responsibility. She, working above her pay grade. She got it done, laid out everything in front of us. And we need, while we're on that, we need to get somebody to do our Board of Selectmen agenda. That fell on her duties. She's handled that. And along with others, Jason, you and Dan have the list of all that she was doing. And Dan had mentioned earlier, maybe we need to post a job and get somebody to help us out. That she, if you read her letter of resignation, she resigned. She had a problem with a couple of members of the Board of Selectmen. And she just can't do it anymore. And I think that it was pretty well spelled out. And anybody that watches the meetings know the harassment and the complaints that.
Mr. Chairman, I have to raise a point of order.
Go ahead, state your point of order.
My point of order is that some of the information contained in this letter could be reviewed as a complaint against an official, which you would have to allow for an executive session discussion. So if the board wishes to have such a executive session, then they should schedule
You're
it.
absolutely correct.
Thank you.
You're absolutely correct, except for the fact that the letter, her letter of resignation and the reasons for it are in correspondence, which, because it's in correspondence, it is public information. So you're right. There may be, at some point, have to set up an executive session to deal with the complaints, but it is a public document, so everybody has access to the, it's in correspondence, it's not in any executive, and, I mean, it's, I'm sorry to see her leaving because she's done a great job, and if the two members of the board don't knock it off, we're gonna lose other members. They know who they are. Some of the comments that were in there were pretty offensive. That
I object. Some of the comments in there were absolutely and factually untrue. So if we're going to do that, let's talk.
Well, sometimes the truth does hurt.
The truth does hurt, but if it's not true, it doesn't hurt. It's not true.
We are members, we are public officials, and we are subject to criticism, and we have to, if you can't take the criticism, you don't belong in the seat.
I'll say.
Anything else?
Yes, Mr.
Dan, you had
Chairman.
something?
I have something to say.
Okay, Dan's got the floor, and then you.
I was away and, yeah, excuse me, I'm having trouble today. I didn't find out till today, so, you know, I'm upset about it, you know. I'm not gonna talk about veracity, and just like I said at the last meeting on other issues, I'm not the trier of facts here. But I can't help but think this could have been avoided. And if I, could unring the bell on this, I would. Would have been nice, whether it's this employee or any other employee, that if there's an issue with, for instance, any that I say or anyone else on this on this board says, that we could have a dialogue before it results in a resignation letter. So that's my point to the Board of Selectmen. We shouldn't get to this point without something in between. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Kathy?
So this statement goes out to my fellow board members and my residents of Groveland, that I am not responding until I have the opportunity to confer with my attorney concerning possible legal recourse against the person or persons who put this letter together. I have nothing more to say.
Anybody else? Jason?
Nope, I'm good.
Bill?
No.
Okay. Next, Whittier Regional Vocational Annual Operation Report, 8/26/2021. Letter of non-renewal of insurance for 46 Washington Street from Excess Brokers, September 9th, 2021. Memo from the Finance Board recommending DLS financial review dated 10/6/2021. Memo from the Finance Board regarding the fiscal year 22 expenses dated September 30th, 2021. Before we do an adjournment, we do need somebody assigned to do our agenda for the meeting on October 25th. Any suggestions on that?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Dan.
I think we should probably consider having a special meeting maybe next week or some other time that's convenient for the board. And talk about, we need a pinch hitter, whether that be a contract worker or,
Temporary?
yeah, I mean, we don't like stipends, but here's another opportunity for a stipend. What do we do? Grab from that line item, but these things have to get done. I mean, I'd like to roll my sleeves up, but I got some serious deadlines this week, October 15th, Friday, so, I work. Can't be in two places at once, so these things need to get done. Somebody needs to get paid to do the work. You just can't have vacancies, whether it's this position or town treasurer or finance director, and just delegate all those duties. I mean, they're full-time jobs are close to it. So I think we're going to have to convene, go through the list. I'll try to find my copy if I don't have it, Jason will have it, or we'll get a copy from Ms. Warden. And we need to come up with a plan.
Any other comments? I agree. We need somebody to come in and help with some of the work, whether we hire somebody on a temporary basis to help things out. Any comments on that? Jason, anything?
No, I think we should discuss it at the next meeting, and I agree with Dan. We should probably have a special meeting.
Schedule it the week after. I'm not available next Monday. Well, any other time during the week.
I'm good anytime.
Kathy, any comment?
No comment.
To see how we get over the hurdle. Bill, comment?
No comment, other than maybe the chair could take on that duty for putting the agenda together.
Oh, we could do that on a temporary basis. Do we want to schedule it, Dan's suggestion, a meeting for the week after to to talk about bringing somebody in on a temporary basis. We don't know how long it's going to take. We need at some point to post the job to replace her. So what's the thoughts of a meeting a week after, you have a particular day? You said anytime, Jason.
Anytime, I'm good.
A week from today? On a Tuesday? Want to move it to 6:30?
We do Wednesday instead?
Hmm?
We do Wednesday instead?
Sure. We can do Wednesday instead.
Middle of the week.
Bill, you available for that on Wednesday?
Sure.
A little bit later too, 6:30. 6:30.
Yeah, Kathy, you available?
No, I'm not available.
You're not available? You have another day, Kathy?
No.
No? You don't want to meet?
Mr. Chairman, I just think if you want to hire a temporary agent, just call them up. Why do we have to meet for that? Let's call a temp agency and post the job.
Well, we must have a job description for her. I'll talk to her Thursday. Go ahead.
Well, along that line, I mean, it's a business not anticipated, or I suppose it's related to the correspondence, but can this board vote to post the existing job description and at least get a jump start on that?
Don't see why not.
Who's going to post it?
We never had a job description. I have the posting, the original posting. I'll send it to you.
Okay, if it's,
Well, we did post the job originally.
We had a job posting, but we never had a job description. That's been.
I wasn't around for that.
The only thing I would suggest is making it temporary, the position.
Well, then why don't you call a temp agency, is what I said, and ask for some temporary help while we sort this out.
Why would you make it temporary? That job's not going away, is it?
Well, but it's gonna change depending on what the
TA.
TA comes in and decides. And after speaking with the town administrators, it could change substantially.
How about if we post the, using the old the old posting and just list it as temporary?
Do you know of a temp agency where we could get clerical help?
I saw one downtown Haverhill, I'm not sure, but I'm sure we could reach out and find some places.
I think that might be a good way to get.
No idea where to start.
It might be a good way to get somebody in. Might be the best way to get somebody in.
I would suggest reaching out to our accountants, who probably have numerous networks and connections where they could probably hook us up, or at least point us in the right direction of a qualified temporary candidate.
Yep,
I mean, they're in that line of work.
the account temps.
No. Our auditors.
Oh, yes.
Reach out to our auditors, who probably have a huge connection and network with a lot of these folks, that they might be able to direct us toward and say, contact this one, contact that one, for that temporary source while you're going through this change.
Well, you said our town accountant, our accountant.
I meant the auditors,
Meant the CPA firm.
the CPA firm.
Ask anyone.
Yeah.
I imagine they have a huge network of folks.
Well, I'll
Well,
speak
use a lot
to
of
Rebecca or Ellen this tomorrow, see if they can contact them and see if they can get a handle on it. Would it, certainly going to be paying more than $19 an hour that we were paying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why, if you post it, what are you going to put?
Posted it.
What are you going to say? Commensurate with experience?
What do you posted it?
If you put $19 an hour, who are you going to get?
Not going to get anybody. What's the market rate? Anybody know? Do you know, Dan?
Changed so much recently, I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Any idea what the market rate would be?
I've had discussions on this. I mean, I think it's closer to 30 than it is 19. I mean, my kids are in high school, 16 years old, making $16 an hour-ish, plus or minus. I mean, it's a little more responsibility than, working a cash register or scooping beans and dumping it on a plate.
Is that something that we could have the second person that's working like 10 hours a week in the clerk's office do something with that?
She works for the Water and Sewer Department as well.
Who works?
Oh, you mean the town clerk? I'm sorry, I'm confusing the two.
Didn't I say town clerk?
Oh, you did, you
Yeah, I thought
did.
it did.
Yeah, I don't know about that
Yeah,
person.
we have, we hired somebody not long ago for 10 hours a week. Is that something that we could,
Yeah, could we ask if there's any in-house employees that want to work more hours? Then you might get 3 people, and if you could delegate X amount of hours, does anyone want to work more hours? And I don't know if that gets us into trouble or over the 19 and benefits and everything like that, I mean, it's a traps for the weary issue.
qualifications are?
Well, with that job description, it seems vast and varied as to what she was doing. I mean, it's a, kind of a, I think I said it at one point in time, and I believe it, it's a Swiss Army knife type of job. Some things on there that some people could do and not other things, then I don't think they should be shy in stepping forward and, we got to get creative here. The market's terrible for employees.
Do we want to see if the assistant town clerk will take on another 9 or 10 hours a week?
If she wants to, have her come forward, Doesn't hurt to ask anyone. But,
And then how about if we do that before we look at a temporary agency?
I would still get the list of the temps.
What's that?
I'd still get the list of the temps, just so we were prepared. Because like Mr. McDonald mentioned, the making it eligible for benefits, you have to find out whether or not that's the case being temporary or not. I don't know. I don't know what the logistics of that are here in town. Retirement and everything else would follow along with that.
yeah.
We'll see if we can't get that this week, and I'll check with her,
The other thing is, if we got temp agencies, I mean, they give us feedback on price.
What needs to be done.
I'm sure they know. I'm sure they have files, and they know who they can place and who's going to work for what and who's going to
Okay,
pay
we'll check
what.
on both, and I'll see if the assistant town clerk could take on some additional hours, get us over the hump until we post a job temporarily. And then we'll check on temporary agencies. I'll check with the town planner, and I'll check with the accountant, see if they have a handle on any of the temp agencies. They know of any.
Are we permitted, I mean, I don't want to do anything wrong, but are we permitted to reach out and call people, selectmen, or is it a conflict of any sort? I mean, I don't benefit a penny.
As long as it's not in your family, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, no, there's no nepotism. I could have,
But do you have somebody in mind, Dan?
I've got hundreds of clients. I can go down the list, and I had a salesperson in my office. Those payroll companies change reps like frequently. But there was a new rep from Paychex, and she said, "Oh, we're doing HR services and some other services, and some headhunter services." So I could call her back and say, "We need a body."
Bill, do you know anybody?
But I just don't want to do that if someone's going to accuse me of something. I got. Like I said, I don't make a penny off any of this, I get a stipend, I guess, at Christmas, but,
You have the typical staffing firms, Robert Half,
but
KBW, K-Force, Winter Wyman. Those are the 4 that I think of off the top of my head that deal primarily in the temp world. But again, I might start with our auditors because they're used to just dealing with municipalities. They probably have a world of connections and networks and have probably come across this exact scenario before themselves, so they may be able to guide us quickly and easily toward a resource or resources that could quickly solve our issue temporarily.
Well, we could check with, we got some suggestions, check with the auditors, see if they know anybody, check with the temporary agencies, we'll get, and Assistant Town Clerk. Catherine is here until Monday. I'll check with her and see if we can make some contacts.
And if
So
I-
I-
if
And then
I-
we'd have to have a meeting.
If I make some phone calls, who would they submit to? To you, as chair? I mean, what's our rules of engagement here? Say I got a person, send your resume to Chairman Watson,
Whatever you wish, I guess.
or to the board, or is it confidence? I mean, we had a mailbox on the TA position. I don't know what the protocol is on that.
Just to send an email to, just the selectmen, to the board, with an interest.
That goes
Okay.
to everybody.
This way,
But I
no,
think it gets
nobody's excluded
Jason's point as far
unilaterally.
as the temporary nature of it.
That's why I
think
don't want to step in anything.
If
Why?
the,
No good deed goes unpunished. You heard of that?
I invented it.
but I think it's important that we maintain
Hey,
this
Mike.
as a temporary measure to
Especially with
keep the work of the board going forward and not create another position that's not defined. I think that we need to be aware of that.
Or that may be redefined once we hire a TA.
Right, I mean, that's my concern. That's why I keep reverting back to what I call the temp agencies. You know, and I'm not sure what they're called nowadays. I know I worked for them summer vacations when I was in college, you know, filled in an accounting department for someone that was out on sick leave.
Yes,
have something?
we have
Yeah,
Government Temps USA,
There you go.
perfect.
and that was recommended by Ellen.
Sounds perfect.
You see, there's got to be a plethora of them out there.
The government temps what?
Government Temps USA. I'll forward you the link.
Okay, well, at some point, we'd have to have a special meeting before our meeting on the 25th to select somebody.
Get the information, and then we can determine whether or not we have to have when we would have the meeting. Because if we don't have any information,
Yeah.
we couldn't have
Is
the
there,
meeting.
yeah, exactly. Is there a time, nothing this week, but is there a time next week that everybody's available? Kathy, you're not available at all next week.
Not much time. I'm wondering, usually a temp agency, you tell them what you want and they send the person. I
No.
mean, you don't,
They typically send a list of a couple of people.
Right, and
And
you
say,
just-
here's some folks that
Yeah, I mean-
would be qualified for what you're looking for. This one is at 20, this one is at 22, this one is at 27. You know, that's how, I know when I go looking for a temp, that's what I get. I usually get a few resumes,
okay.
and they vary in experience, and then you kind of nail down to one or two, and then you interview them and bring one in.
What we need to have a vote to hire the person if we come up with
Okay.
somebody.
So do you want to appoint somebody and leave it to them? So we don't have to have the special meeting? Is that what you would like to do?
Appoint somebody what?
To make the decision,
To make the decision.
based on the information that the temp service comes?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah,
Dad's
okay.
point, he's trying to get the whole board involved in the decision.
Right, and
Right.
then,
Not for one
since it's a
person.
temporary position, I don't feel like we're not going to be interviewing temps, I don't think.
Well,
would we?
we're gonna need, to
Really?
determine a salary, an hourly wage.
Well, they will dictate to us what the
Yeah.
hourly rates are. That's going to be given to us.
right.
Yep.
And then the rest of it is the cart before the horse. There's no sense in having a meeting before we have a candidate or candidates.
Okay, we'll see if we can come up with something, and then go out to the board, see if they're available for the meeting.
Okay.
That doesn't violate open meeting law, checking with the board members, it does not, to see if
Oh,
they're
it's
available
fine.
for a meeting.
You're allowed to do that.
Do you still want to check with the assistant town clerk to see if that's something
can't
that she wants to,
deliberate.
Right.
You want
That's
to check
the
on her
gist of
first?
it. You could say
I think
hello.
it's best to get the the temp information. I think that's the easiest way to go.
Because then we don't have to deal with the benefits side of it.
Yeah.
Can't
If
make
you
a
do it through the
decision.
temp, we don't have to worry about the 19 hours a week or anything like that.
It can be terminated anytime and no hard feelings, where if we do it in-house and it's terminated and
Yeah,
potentially could lead to disgruntled employee. So
Okay.
I would,
We can try
Caution against
all
that.
angles. All right, I'll work on that. I'll get a hold of Catherine and we'll make some calls. Anything else? Next scheduled meeting, the Board of Selectmen will be Monday, October 25th.
Yes, there is
ahead.
one thing. Now that we have a corrected collective bargaining agreement between the town of Groveland and the Mass COP Local 420 patrol officers, that I see, can we now completely ratify and sign this document? Dan, did you see anything else that was
I flipped through it page by page. It looks clean.
clean now, yeah?
I mean, I didn't,
Page 13 was our biggest problem, and that has been now corrected.
I didn't negotiate it. My understand, let me sit up straight here. My understanding that there were, don't know how material they are, but there was a 2% increase. It's a one-year deal. Everything else was pretty much agreed upon. That it was,
Everything else is the same as prior contract.
everything else
Nothing
was
changed, except for
cloned.
one thing. The detail,
Oh, the detail rate was increased because it wasn't competitive.
correct.
We should
And
be able to just sign one of these.
I would think so. Pick one and sign it as long as everybody's fine with
It's
it.
only good through, what,
June 30th, 2022. It's a one-year deal,
yeah. Correct.
specifically designed so the new TA could handle a 3-year agreement, and we didn't want to place that person in a bind in negotiating things that would be difficult for them to fulfill.
Okay? We've already voted on it, so we just need to sign it.
There you go. Who's got the final?
We've all got a copy. I don't know which is the final. Just pick one, sign it, and then we'll make that final, I guess, right? I don't know if it's a big deal.
Sounds good.
I know I've got a copy that's right, so if you want to use this one.
Okay, next scheduled
Right ahead.
meeting of the Board of Selectmen will be Monday, October 25th. Motion to adjourn. Somebody
Motion to adjourn,
Is there
Mr.
a
Chair.
second on that?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Unanimous.
Dan?